Ready or not. Good evening. I'd like to call this Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Seated this evening will be Charlie Chuck Sheehan, myself, Ben Philbrick, Fred Dykman, Lynn Conway, and Gary Belkey in for Ryan Deasy, who is in Boston at a meeting. Is there a motion on the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes of October 18th.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's see, you were absent.
Abstain.
Okay, thank you.
Move
And
to
the-
approve the minutes of October 25.
1709. Thank you, Fred. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chuck. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Gary?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And
Abstain.
one more abstention.
Cold out there.
Thank you, Lynn. All righty, Keith.
Yeah, on 5D, administrative review items. 5D1 is Connecticut General Statutes 8-24 review for the acceptance of Olivia Lane. This is from subdivision application PZ 1230 SD and GPP by Rowley LLC, Allied Development Partners. This was a subdivision and groundwater protection permit application for an 11-lot open space development with the 742-foot-long cul-de-sac. So, according to Connecticut General Statute Section 8-24, the town has to submit certain municipal improvements to the Planning Commission for a report on whether the change or the project is consistent with the plan of conservation and development. It's an advisory opinion from this board to the Board of Selectmen, and just the only decision is whether it's consistent or not consistent with the plan of conservation and development. Accepting a road into the town road system is one of the things that has to go before a vote for you. There's not a real difference if you vote to disapprove it. It forces a supermajority vote by the Board of Selectmen with a 3-person Board of Selectmen. That's still same as a simple majority. But in this case, we're talking about acceptance of Olivia Lane as a town road. This is a cul-de-sac off North Stonington Road. This was part of a subdivision that was approved in 2013. The road was completed in 2018 and has been maintained by the town since that time, even though it hasn't been officially accepted yet. Department of Public Works has recommended acceptance of the road, and the acceptance has sort of become an important public safety issue because residents have been petitioning DOT to eliminate the bypass lane on Route 201, which is North Stonington Road, because it conflicts with that road. When the residents are turning off of Olivia Lane, cars are bypassing at a high rate of speed and almost hitting people. So DOT won't even start investigating changing it until Olivia Lane is accepted as a town road. So there's a bit of a, importance to it. So it's the Board of Selectmen will ultimately decide whether to accept the road into the town system, and they should be voting on that over the next month or so. The POCD doesn't specifically address the issue, but broadly says the town should monitor accident locations and make any required safety modifications.
Keith, is it built to town standards?
It is, yeah. And that was the plan when they built it, is that it would be accepted as a town road.
So why has the town been maintaining it for the past 4 or 5 years?
DPW decided to do that, I think, I'm not sure of the reason. At the time, they said, I think they expected it to be done earlier, and they said, hey, we'll just get it out of the way, put it into our normal rotation of street plowing before the winter comes.
I'm interested in knowing if they'll maintain my road.
If it's all of Mason's Island, it might be a different story.
Yeah, it'd be great, it'd be great.
Why has it been so many years, Keith?
It's just the developer just hasn't offered it. I think they intended to do it. I think that the main contact person for the developer sort of left the project, and it was just sort of out there. For a while, we tried to get them going to do it, but yeah, it took this long.
Okay, and so just so I understand, there have been people who have kind of said that it's a safety issue now because of the way the road connects into 201 and the speed of 201, and the state won't do anything to address that one way or the other unless it's an official town road?
Right, yeah, the state won't look at changing that and getting rid of the bypass lane there
Okay.
until that's a town road.
Is the Christie development just to the north of that?
It is, yeah. it's
And
just to
that
the
won't
north
have
of
any
that.
impact
No, no,
on this particular issue?
no.
If anything, it might improve, help the Olivia people getting that bypass lane removed by having another development to the north.
Maybe, or, it might be sort of the vice versa of the situation where getting rid of the bypass lane might help the new residents of that Christie subdivision if they're trying to exit.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to help slow down traffic, both
Yeah,
another cut.
yeah, where you won't have cars zooming on the wrong side of the road.
Right.
Are we holding any bonds on this road at all, Keith?
No, not anymore. Those were released.
So the bonds were released and it wasn't accepted. That's really weird.
And plowed.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing was just, we didn't get the legal documents from the developer to do this.
Oh, okay.
And we still didn't. We actually, just to move this along because of the public safety issue, we asked the town attorney to draft the deed himself, and he was able to find the developer and have him sign off on it.
Okay. It sounds like everything's in order, it's just an unusual case where, the administrative process wasn't followed.
And COVID probably didn't help.
Yeah. And it is important, that's an important safety consideration. It's unfortunate that DOT won't listen to somebody because it isn't what if this was permanently a private road? Would it be any less of an
Detrimental.
issue?
Yeah.
We get no respect.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that matters.
Yeah.
But this is kind of interesting just in general, that when we look at these things, like this development, I wonder if that was part of the discussion, that you're opening.
I can't, then can you use your microphone a little bit more? Thanks.
I'm sorry. Just, I wonder if it was part of the initial discussion on the approval of the subdivision as far as how it was coming out on 201 and where the opening would be. I mean, we recently just passed another subdivision off 201, didn't we?
That's what I was just talking about, Christie's, just north.
Yeah, Christie's. I don't even think we looked at that. It's probably something just to consider in the future.
We talked about the traffic flow and the,
But did anybody
Hillside.
specifically say, is there a path,
oh, I see what you're saying.
I don't recall
No,
that at
no.
all. So it's just a kind of a food for thought.
Right.
So you need a vote on consistent or non-consistent?
Right.
Do I hear a motion?
I motion to approve the application to make Olivia Lane a town road.
Second.
Thank you, Lynn, thank you, Fred. Any further discussion? Gary?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Item 5D2, 22-246 ZON, inclusion A Sylvester Foundation zoning permit application for renovations to mixed-use structure for coffee shop and apartment, including relocation of stairs and creation of an ADA ramp. Property located at 100 West Broad Street, Pawcatuck, Assessors Map 4, Block 5, Lot 5, Zone PV5. This is a zoning permit application for 100 West Broad. It's currently a two-family residential building. It used to be commercial uses on the ground floor. What they're looking to do is have a 10-seat cafe in there associated with the Inclusion New Heights organization across the street. And since this is in the PV5, the Pawcatuck Village District, the use isn't really what's before you here. It's really just the physical changes to the building, where they are getting rid of that side staircase to the second floor, replacing it in the back with a handicap ramp also in the back. So it makes a driveway wider, which is very narrow, which I think the fire department is in favor of. This was previously approved as a restaurant before it was in the PV5 zone, which never happened. It conforms to the bulk and use requirements of the PV5 zone and meets the parking requirements also. And there's also new building elevations provided in your folder separately that just shows that there's little change to the overall appearance from the street. And Mr. Sylvester is here if there's any.
Answer any questions you might have. But I did want to make a correction, Keith, that I'd emailed you just on the text of it. The New Heights organization, which the Inclusion Foundation supports, is actually located across the street. So the Inclusion Foundation, which is a foundation that my wife and I started, supports multiple organizations. The lower level is not part of New Heights. Some of the benefit of that lower level will go to support their programming, but I just wanted to make a note for the record, just so it didn't confuse anybody. It's not part of New Heights. And just another note that I was talking to David about too, it wasn't residential on the bottom floor, it was residential on the upper floor. I think the last usage was a commercial usage on the lower floor, just so you know. So we're going to keep to the same usage as it was before. I just wanted to make those notes.
So it's an apartment upstairs
Yes, it was an
Okay.
apartment, yep, an apartment upstairs.
and a cafe downstairs? Is what you're-
Yep, that's the intent, correct.
No, any live music or?
No, it's going to be very simple. No, good question. So
You never know.
yeah, thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Do you have to make any other structural modifications to the building? No fireproofing additions or anything like that?
No, not
For
that-
the use on the first floor?
No, not that we know of. I mean, it's a pretty simple building.
Meets all the egress standards?
We are going to do, as you noted in the back there, handicap accessibility in the
Okay.
back. So I think the answer to your question,
Yeah, I
sir,
don't
is
see that here, so.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily the proposed, this is existing, right? Except for the elevation
That's the-
drawing.
That's the proposal.
that's
That
the
is the
proposed. On the
proposed.
bottom, you'll see that there's a handicap accessibility below. I think that
Okay.
staircase, yep. So just, I want to answer your question completely. That handicap accessibility, that door would obviously be widened on the bottom to allow someone in.
Understood.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome,
no
sir.
further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chuck.
Is
Fred?
is the patio, is that new?
There is no patio, not at this current time. There, in the front, sir, there is we have grass there right now, and we understand that itself could hold 2 small tables. If somebody wanted to sit there, if they're walking by and they had a coffee, they could sit out front there.
Oh, okay. I had the impression you were building a patio out there.
No, we're going to clean it up. If you look at the picture of it, it's a little disheveled. We certainly will clean it up a little bit and make sure that it can be used to be sit in.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
And is the cafe just food? It's not alcohol?
Oh, no alcohol whatsoever. And it's still, the intent of our, myself and my wife is to have very simple coffee service.
Okay.
So basically, they're self-serve pumps. And it's still a discussion. We came up with cookies and coffees because it's something that we love. And our clients that we serve that will be working there can work in that capacity, even a very simple but quality service level. I think the most will be reheated cookies so that we can get the smell so that you're more thirsty for your coffee. But no, the intent, there's no alcohol or anything like that there.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Entertain a motion?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman, of application number 22-246 ZON for the A. Silvestri Foundation.
Thank you, Chuck. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Fred. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Item 5D3, 22-257 ZON, Mystic Seaport Museum. Zoning permit application for a 12 by 15-foot, 10-inch timber pavilion property located at 75 Greenmanville Ave, Mystic, Assessors Map 173, Block 1, Lot 1, Zone MHD. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Wilson here because he's got the board.
Thank you. My name is Ken Wilson. I'm the Facilities Director at Mystic Seaport. The application this evening that's before you is for the relocation of the existing performance stage and the addition of a shed roof over the top of it. The performance stage, if you're not aware, I have a pointer, is located kind of surrounded by the Stillman Building, Chubb's Wharf, and the membership building, and it sits currently in a little treed grove right at the end of the dock area. Fortunately, the performances that we've been having over the last couple of years during COVID and the attendance at these performances has been much greater than it had been in the past. So what we'd like to do is rotate the orientation of the stage approximately 90 degrees from its current location.
Excuse me, sir, I'm having a tough time hearing you. Would you mind using the
Certainly.
microphone? Oh, here we go. Here's
Yep.
our technician.
Good. Just. Perfect. What we'd like to do is relocate the stage from its current location, which is currently right around this area within the grove of trees, and put it on the lawn area that's just outside the Stillman Building. And as I mentioned, rotate it 90 degrees so its orientation is a little bit more to the southeast rather than directly to the east. We've had people standing in the street, sitting on the stone walls and so forth at recent performances, and we'd really like to be able to increase the seating area in that and then provide a little bit of shelter, which is why the addition for the performers, which is the request for the shed roof over the top of the building.
Any questions? Chuck?
Is this in a flood zone?
Yes, the entire seaport is in a flood zone.
It is, I guess I knew that, but I wanted to hear you say it on the record. Is there any fill associated with this application at all?
None whatsoever, no.
Okay. No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
What sort of foundation work does that require? You're going to have to put some sort of a base under that shed roof, right?
The shed itself will sit on 4 piers. Yes, sir. It's just a 4-posted structure, and it will just sit on 4 sonotubes.
Firmly attached, I hope.
I'm sorry?
I say firmly attached, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Is there any lighting or sound system?
There will be lighting associated with it, yes. The sound system is mobile depending on the performers. The performers bring their own sound systems depending on the venue and the type of performance that's being
And they've been
put on.
using that same sound system now, correct?
Yes, they are.
But the lighting will be new?
The lighting would be new. When we do have very special events, we do bring in outside lighting contractor that does put up some performance lighting for us if the venue is in the evening. But this way it would be built into the roof of the structure.
Any other
How
questions?
tall is the structure going to be?
The structure is 12 feet off the ground at the top. The stage itself would be 2 feet, and there's 10 feet of freeboard between the top of the stage and the underside of the roof structure.
And then it's just a flat roof.
I'm sorry?
It's pitched.
I'm sorry, I'm sitting back in my chair. And then it's just a flat roof.
It's a shed roof, yes. It has a slight slope to it, so the
Right.
water runs off to the rear, but it is a flat roof, yes.
And I'm just having trouble, I'm sorry, kind of orientating myself as to where this is on the seaport, in the seaport. Could you
Yes.
explain where it is again?
Sure.
Because you
So-
said they were sitting on the stone walls near the
Right.
27?
So this is the North Basin,
Yeah,
where the marina exists. This is the south end of the Stillman Building. This is the covered porch where you enter the Stillman Building. This is this Wendell Building where Figureheads exhibit exists. Membership Building, Membership Laneway. This is the Children's Museum.
yeah.
And over, you can't really see it on this drawing, but this is Spouter's Tavern. It's right over here. And then the Chubb's Wharf and the Morgan would be moored on that chair.
Okay. And so it's right on the water? It's on the water?
It's just off the water, yes. It's about 30 or 40 feet off the water.
So I'm very concerned about light pollution. And I hear what you said, that's currently when you have performances, people bring in the lighting and then it's removed. And so this is just to add a convenience, that it's there permanently. But I'd like to know what it's going to consist of. I mean, it's right, there's nothing between that and the water.
There's, well,
Well, I mean, a building.
there's
that
no,
would-
there's no structure between that and the water, that's
Right.
correct. And but there currently is no structure between the existing performance state and the water either.
Right.
And these lights would face southeast.
I'm sorry,
These lights would face southeast, the way the opening of the...
these lights would face down onto the stage. These are down lights onto the
But what I'm saying is towards
stage.
the buildings, not towards the water.
No, 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 we, again,
No?
the Seaport is multifaceted in this respect. So we have boaters here, who pay rent
Yes.
to keep their boats here. So we're very aware of our relationship between that and the boaters. We're certainly not going to do anything that's going to detract from the boater business.
That's a good point. Yeah, I just, again, I'm just very sensitive to, having kind of that dark area there on the river. And I just want to make sure that the lighting that's associated with the shed roofing, et cetera, is not going to be seen from the water. It sounds to me like it's pointing the opposite way, away from the water, and you're not going to have anything coming back at the stage.
No, there would be no lighting aimed at the water, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So-
And this is not
Should we
done,
really have a lighting level plan? We get it from everybody else with,
Kind of what I'm thinking.
that shows a zero exfiltration from the specific activity. We're sort of inconsistent. If we have a lighting concern here, we've held up applications
I
from
agree
other
with you.
players and not approved them till they come back with a lighting plan.
I agree with you 100%. This is a sensitive area. And as you know, when the Seaport came forward to put in their boutique hotel, they had to come back and with a modification to their application because of lighting and light pollution.
I think it's a great activity, but it would be hard to control it afterwards if we didn't have some sort of idea of what type of lights and where they were going to light and what the lighting levels were approved to be.
Could we have that as a stipulation, to have Keith be okay, approved by Keith?
Mm-hmm.
Would that,
Sure,
the lumens and
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Fred?
is this shed and the lighting and all of that, is this in anticipation of more evening events than you currently have?
No, not at all. No. It's, as I said, it's really more in anticipation of daytime events when we're open to the public and the public doesn't have sufficient seating to enjoy the event.
So why don't you just make the lighting portable as it is?
99% of the time it is portable. There's just a couple of downlights in the ceiling of the building or this roof structure in the event that they need some light at, dusk.
Oh, that's all it's going to be, okay. But I do think a lighting plan, I just think for thoroughness' sake, it would be good to have that, and I would be fine if that's the extent that you're talking about, for Keith just to approve it.
Yeah, I wouldn't object to it as a condition of approval.
Yeah.
To be reviewed by the
Thank you.
planner.
And so you're talking about an actual photometric plan?
Correct.
By a lighting
The
expert?
standard photometric
Yep.
plan that we get, that I think are usually done by lighting vendors.
But again, just to be clear, what we're hearing is it's just one, a couple of downlights onto
Right.
the stage in case they need light to see
Right.
something, not to light up the entire stage or, okay.
Do I hear a motion with that?
I have one. What's the total seating so far?
What is the seating?
Yeah, how?
I couldn't answer that for you. I'm sorry. I really don't know. I would say that there's probably 20 benches down there that probably hold 4 people tops.
And percentage-wise, how much bigger is it going to be?
50%.
50? Okay.
Yep.
So the stage itself and everything is not becoming bigger, just the area
That's
where people can sit.
That's correct. The stage is exactly the same size as the stage that's there. It's just that the seating area, the seating is contained within the same area it's currently located in, but by taking the stage out of that area and moving it onto the lawn, it allows us to provide more seating. This area is currently all wood chips, so we're just taking the stage out of that area. The seating would remain on the wood chipped area.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of application 22-257 ZON for the Mystic Seaport Museum, subject to the submission of a satisfactory photometric plan, be reviewed by the planner, that adheres to the general sense of the discussion that we've had here this evening regarding exfiltration of light from the site.
Thank you, Chuck. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Fred. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So for old business, items 6A and 6B, recommend tabling those for different reasons, either a town engineer review or architectural design review board review for the Liberty Street one, which just brings us to the public hearing.
Okay.
Need a motion on that?
No, that's okay.
Did we have to approve? Oh, we already- Okay. Pursuant to the general statutes of the state of Connecticut, revision of 1958, and all amendments thereto, and pursuant to the zoning regulations of the town of Stonington, Connecticut, the Planning and Zoning Commission hereby gives notice that it will hold a public hearing at the Stonington Board of Education District Office, 40 Field Street, Pawcatuck, Connecticut, on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, at 7 p.m. on the following application. PZ 2227 SUP 8H11, Whitehall Avenue, LLC, D. Flanagan, special use permit application for a dental office in existing building. Property located at 56 Whitehall Ave, Mystic Assessors Map 164, Block 2, Lot 2, Zone TC 80. This was rescheduled from October 18th.
Thank you, Lynn. Seated this evening, we have Chuck Sheehan, myself, Ben Philbrick, Fred Dykman, Lynn Conway, and Gary Belkey. The process will be hopefully there's a sign-up sheet. Yes, there is, by the door, for those who would like to have comment. First, we'll hear from the applicant, then we'll have public input. That's fine. General comments in favor or opposed, and rebuttal by the applicant, and then staff input.
Okay, I'm at the old location of Frank's Gourmet Grill, and I've convert that space to a dental office, and be between 1 and 3 dentists in there at some point in the future. About 4,000 square feet, I believe. And there's three units in that building. There's a dermatologist next door, and the first unit is for rent. We're hoping to put another kind of doctor in there of some sort. There was previously a walk-in clinic there.
Excuse me, sir, could you point the microphone up? Just, we're having some audience participate. Thank
Is that
you.
better? Okay.
I hope so.
sorry. And
Excuse me, could you back, there are 3 units?
yeah, we're going to. It's 3 units in the building, and there seems to be adequate parking there. And there's a dumpster there, which we're going to put in evergreens around that to sort of hide it, and then possibly a fence there. We'll talk to the architect about that. But that's about it. It's we've removed some of the debris that's around the area there, and inside the building. So that's about it. We're going to put all new equipment, state-of-the-art equipment in there. We'd like to anyway, so.
So, other questions?
Well, not so much question, an observation. I think it was the old Mystic Fire Department had asked for detailed floor plans and construction plans. Have we got,
Right here.
do they have them?
I don't know. I don't know. I just got these today, so I'm not sure what, but we'll turn all these over to the appropriate people, of course.
So this would be in the front of the building towards Route 27?
No, the far right one, looking at the building, the old Frank's Gourmet Grill.
Got it. Okay.
So how, you're just taking over the one unit of Frank's?
Yeah, exactly. The dermatologist in the middle unit, I'll be in the far end unit, and the first unit toward the street will be is for rent.
Okay.
We're looking to put some kind of professional office in there, though.
I too was confused by the floor plan with which sheet met up with which sheet that
Oh, I
you
see.
gave us.
Oh.
So how many dentists are you going to be having?
Between one and three. Initially be one, and then I assume as time goes on, we can have as many as three dentists in there. They won't be there all at the same time, though. We have to have hours to accommodate the public, morning and evening hours.
I count 15 different dentist chairs.
No, it should be a maximum of 10. Oh, now there's rooms in there, like a computer room, a laboratory, and a lunch room, things like that. But there's treatment rooms are 10, 9 or 10 maximum. These plans are sort of fluid because of the equipment that's, and the technology that we need to have.
Let me ask you this in relation to
Totally confused.
the number of rooms. From a parking perspective, how many employees are you anticipating having in
I
that
think
unit?
at full operation would be about 10.
10 employees
Yeah,
at the
at
same
full
time?
operation, but they'll be spaced out different times of the day.
Okay,
Some will be in the morning, some will be in the evening.
okay, so maybe six throughout the day?
6, 7 during the day, yeah.
Okay, and then you've got 10 chairs?
10,
Will it
yeah.
be
Well, this
full?
plan shows 15, so I'm confused.
I'm confused too. I'm not sure. I've always had like 9 or 10.
This was in our
You're
file.
confused, and you're confused, I'm confused.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what you have there, but
Dr. Flanagan, Henry Sheen Equipment Rep, Integrated Design Studio. It was in our packet from last meeting.
Integrated Design, who are they? Integrated Design Studio? Is that from Shine?
Yeah, Henry Schein Integrated Design Studio.
No, that's, we never had, well, now, treatment rooms, we're having about 9 or 10.
Well, could you show us the floor plan, please? And I know the building official was concerned about the floor plan. She hadn't seen it, right, Candy?
Yeah, the zoning official.
Zoning official.
So it's 10. Treatment rooms here. But there are ancillary rooms as well. These are treatments, 5 here, and there's 5 here. There's an office there for the wet treatment. There's a staff lounge here. There's a small computer room here, and there's a laboratory back here. There's restrooms.
So the public can hear.
Oh, sorry.
You need to just go through that real quick.
Sure, sorry. There's 10 treatment rooms proposed. We might shorten that up to 9, but the ancillary rooms are the business office, where records are kept, an X-ray alcove, a laboratory, 2 restrooms, and then a staff lounge and a computer room. And then, of course, a sterilization area as well. This is just more of a passageway in here, but there's no doors on that, just so that there's an easy flow of people walking through, sterilizing the instruments and restocking the rooms.
How many staff people do you have working?
None right now.
When you open up?
Yeah, we'll probably have about 2 or 3 when we start. We'd like to open up next year sometime. And then as we get busier, we'll probably have, like I say, about 10 people working there.
10 people working.
But there'll be
How many
work-
people waiting in the waiting room usually?
Well, we don't like to have people wait. You walk in the door, we like to get you back there and get you seated. Now, some people might show up 5 or 10 minutes early, which is okay. We have some waiting chairs in there, but
So the 10 people includes the doctors, the hygienists, and the administrative staff?
correct, yeah.
But not there all, at all times?
No, no. There might be at most 2 dentists there, and then 2 hygienists. We book traditionally, dentists, dental hygienists are booked 1 patient every hour. We run that a little differently so that you can see 1 patient every half an hour with a dental assistant. So the hygienists are highly trained people, and they don't need to sterilize instruments and things like that and take x-rays. They do the actual debridement of the teeth and the gums. And the lesser trained person takes the x-rays, contacts the patient's physicians for medical care and drugs and things like that, and disease they may have that might complicate dental treatment. And then the dentist usually sees between 1 patient, well, I like to see 1 patient every hour, and you like to get a lot done in 1 sitting. It's more productive that way, and if the patient keep coming back and forth all the time for little things. So I suspect that at any one time we'll need about 15 parking spaces back there, maybe 20. There's plenty of room there. Also, there's some grassy area that could probably be converted to parking spaces as well.
So, but you also have a all of the spaces surrounding the building
Yeah.
are shared among the other units, right?
Yes.
So is that part of the contract, like you have 15 spaces and the dermatologist has 5?
Well, we don't have
or-
any contract with them. That might come to pass, though. That's a good point. But there's a grassy area to the right side of the building, which could put in another 4 spaces in there. And then there's a space in the back where that would be safe for the employees and the doctors that work there.
There are quite a few spaces,
There
you're
are a
right.
lot, yeah.
You know, because Frank's Grill used to be very busy.
Yeah,
And there'd be cars, but a lot of times they had to park in the hotel parking lot.
yeah.
I think it's a stipulated shared parking.
Yeah, that's what they're at.
Yeah, the hotel actually,
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
an agreement.
yeah, the hotel actually owns the land that building is on. And I lease the land from the hotel. And I think they'd be okay with me if we need more parking spaces. But I think there's a lot of grassy areas that could be converted to parking spaces
Okay,
very
I see.
easily.
I see what you're saying.
Is there a
So you're-
site plan with this set of documents?
Probably. I just got these today.
I haven't seen any.
Might be something in the folder.
Yeah, there's a plot plan I submitted earlier. What do you call it? A plan or site plan, yeah. We're not adding anything or subtracting anything.
Go to the title sheet here. It should be. You're not flipping it and twirling its face.
No, that's all right, that's fine, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Now, this looks more like a set of architectural plans.
I've got another scroll over here as well.
Yeah, and okay. Yeah, in the original application, there was a site plan,
Okay.
and it's not proposing anything new, it's just a site plan from one of the previous applications on this property.
Okay. I don't have any particular concerns, other than I'd just like to see, sort of an overall assessment of when you overlay this new use on the balance of the uses, if we have enough parking.
Right, and zoning says we do as far as standards
Okay.
in zoning.
Then that may be enough. That may be enough.
Do you,
Yeah, these were
No.
in our package a couple weeks ago.
Eventually you'll need the zoning.
do you plan, what is the signage? So right now there's
These
a,
existing signage, that's it. Is this on? The existing sign is the same sign, stays up. It's not
Okay.
not any bigger.
Nothing different?
It's lit, but it's not lit now, not lit yet, so
Okay. And no changes to the parking lot? We just discussed that?
no, like I say, we could expand that. I think there's some grassy, 2 grassy areas there that could maybe make 8 more spaces
Okay.
if we need to. I mean, obviously, I don't
You'd
want,
have to come back if we did.
yeah,
that.
and obviously, I don't want patients coming in, not being able to find a parking space and driving off,
Right.
That's not
Right.
good. So we want to have them, park appropriately and then walk into the building and then get their teeth fixed, right?
Right,
Have you seen that?
thank you.
Yeah, and as far as the parking, it's a big decrease in the required parking per zoning, because Frank's Grill had a lot of seats, and that needed 58 parking spaces, and the dental office would only need about 18.
Yeah.
Is there any public comment at this time? No. In favor, against, opposed, general comments? Silence, all righty. Any other questions?
Oh, come on, Ben.
Fred?
Okay. The only question I have is are we happy that we have all the information we need here, or do we want to hold out for a little?
I can't quite hear you.
I say, are we happy with all the information we have here, or?
Well, see what the staff thinks about that.
Yeah.
Gary, Lynn, any?
I have no additional questions. I'd like to hear what Keith has to say.
Okay.
No, I'm fine. I think, as Keith said, it's, you're going from 114 seats and a required parking that's a much more intensive use to a lesser intensive use. So the question on parking is kind of mute.
Keith?
Yeah, and, the Old Mystic Fire District was looking for a more detailed floor plan, but still recommended the zoning approval. And the floor plan might add clarity, but there's really no zoning issue with it, because we know there's a lot less parking, and, the details of how many rooms and things like that aren't so much of a zoning
The footprint's
issue
not
for us.
changing.
The
of building.
footprint's not changing.
My only
yeah.
concern was talk about grassy areas going into pavement, then you start getting into more stormwater runoff. So
Right.
I'm a little hesitant to say, oh, yeah, everything's fine without
Right, and sometimes,
nailing some of this down.
yeah, sometimes the parking lot landscaping requirements don't let you do that either,
Right.
because there's certain rules about how much landscaping you need in the parking lot.
But they'd have to come back if they were going to make changes to that parking lot.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Right. So, right.
A couple recommended stipulations. The first one is just an identical stipulation to what Frank's Grill had, which was that the site shall be in compliance with the approved 2008 site plan prior to zoning compliance regarding parking spaces, dumpster screening, and bicycle rack. The loading areas on the 2008 plan need not be installed, and the legal non-conforming situation may be continued, which is basically what Dr. Flanagan was getting at with screening the dumpster there. And number two, that the zoning permit application shall be submitted to the Department of Planning prior to issuance of a building permit. And that's also a point where the zoning permit's an administrative sign-off that we do prior to the building permit, and that will have to have a more detailed final floor plan to it,
Right.
because it's the same thing that the building official will approve.
And the Old Mystic Fire Department would get a
Yeah.
copy and get input in that time, right?
Right.
Okay. So we don't need to have a separate stipulation for the Old Mystic Fire Department. That would be inclusive, really, when they submit the paperwork? Is that?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? So you're asking for a vote on the waivers and a vote on the special use permit?
That's right.
Any other discussion?
Actually, don't we have to move on the waivers first? Vote on the waivers first?
I think we should close the hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other discussion before we close the hearing? I hear a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close the meeting.
Thank you, Fred. I hear a second.
Second.
Second?
Thank you, Lynn. Any other discussion? I'm closing the hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What's the pleasure of the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the special permit use waivers stipulated in the planning report submitted to us by Keith.
Second.
Thank you, Fred. All those, or any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So that was inclusive, or are you having number two? That was number two. I'm sorry. I'm a little out of it tonight.
Move, are you ready for another motion?
I am.
Okay. I move approval of the special permit
There we
for
go.
change of use, subject to the two conditions that Keith listed, and I won't bother enumerating.
Second.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Fred. Any other discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Thank you.
Okay,
You're good to go.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Motion to adjourn. Thank you, Fred. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lynn. Meeting adjourned.